Are you looking for ideas for 8x8 paper or simply some Easter ideas? Hi, I'm Jess from JessCrafts.com and I'm here to help you make the most of your crafty supplies and time. So let's get making. Today I have the Violet Studio Hoppy Easter paper pad. I've used this in a video before and I may use it a few more times. I know a lot of people picked this up from scrapbook.com when it was a freebie. It has a good mix of spring and Easter specific paper. Today I'm going to use two very general papers and I'll probably make some Easter cards and some spring cards. I have an 8x8 paper busting template. That means that it makes cards from pattern paper without leaving any scraps. In this instance I use 8x8 paper since that's the paper pad I have, and it makes 4 A2 size cards without scraps. If you have a different size pattern paper or you like to make a different size cards, head on over to jesscrafts.com, and of course there'll be a link in the video description, and I have templates for a whole variety of paper sizes and card sizes, and they're sorted by both so you can find what you need. For today's template, as I said, it's going to make 4 cards, so I will show you how I trim the paper. I picked these 2 papers from the collection and some purple cardstock for my cardstock mats. You never have to use cardstock mats, but I just like the look of it. Stack my paper and cut both sheets at the same time. This is single-sided paper, so I decided to cut 2 papers and I'll make 8 cards in all, just so that I can mix up the patterns, but you absolutely can do this with just 1 piece of paper and make just the 4 cards. At first, according to the sketch, I'm going to need 1-inch strips, so I'm going to cut it to 1x8 until I get to the 2-inch mark, and then I'll cut those in half later. So I'll go 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and 2. Now, this last 2-inch strip gets cut into 2x2, so that's why I paused there, realign things, and I'll cut at 6. As you can see, I find it easier to measure from the edge because then I can just keep moving my paper down instead of having to reposition it at the 2-inch mark each time. Sorry, that ruler was a little bit out of the way. And then I'll take each set of 1x8 and cut them down to 1x4. When you go to cut your cardstock scrap, something I do want to point out about this sketch is because you have these 4-inch pieces, you can get 2 mats very efficiently for these particular ones. So this is at 11. I'm going to cut so that I have the 11-inch long and the 8.5 tall. So I need 1 1/4. And then when I cut to the 4 1/4, I will have 2 perfect mats for this sketch without any cardstock scrap waste as well. It's not going to work out as well for the 2x2 pieces, but those you will want to cut to 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. So I'll just cut those as well. Now that we have enough pieces cut for 8 cards, it is time for us to assemble the card. My Altenew mat is coming in quite handy here because it's helping me I put my card along the A2 vertical card outline, and then it's helping me to know when my pieces are centered. And I like to do the 2 outside pieces first so that the borders here are even, and then when I do the inside one, I can make sure that that is even from both of them. Now, for whatever reason, I think it's because the 8.5 by 11 cardstock is almost never absolutely perfectly 8.5. Some of my pieces are longer than others. And so if that's really bothering you, you can trim up those pieces to try to make them more accurately to the other sizes, and I would recommend holding one up to it and not just eyeballing it like I am here, but I don't get too concerned about that kind of thing. But now everything looks pretty even in terms of the 3 stripes that go in the back of the card, and you can have your sketch off to the side to remind you of what you want to be doing with that. And then I can add the pattern paper on top. A lot of times I add the pattern paper first. I just like to try to go a little bit faster on video and find adding all the adhesive at one time can be helpful for that. And once you get your cards assembled, if you find that you have really enjoyed making Easter cards or spring cards and you have more than you need to give, then at jesscrafts.com there is a page dedicated to places to donate your cards, as well as jokes that you can put inside your card, and I have some specific spring and Easter jokes which you might find helpful. Then I want to add my embellishments. A lot of the card toppers that I had left are just way too big for the sketch. It would completely cover that 2-inch square. So I went to the tags that I also purchased. I purchased the mini tags and the card toppers. But within the card toppers, there were a few smaller elements, and so that is what I'm also going to use. I like to prioritize using as much as possible when I first start. So I'm using a tag and a card topper element because I find that in the past, or I have found in the past, that I will try to be too conservative with my embellishments, and then I'll finish my paper pad or use most of my paper pad and have extra embellishments left because I didn't want to add too many to the first cards. So now I kind of tell myself it's important to just use what you bought. Like, if you run out, then you probably can buy more, and if you can't, you'll find something else that works. We all have plenty of things in our stash. You can always get printables on Creative Fabrica too if you don't want to wait for shipping. I love a lot of their printables, and I used them on my Easter cards last year. You might have seen that video. I can leave a link in the video description as well. I put a little piece of string through the hole if you don't want to be bothered with the string, but you don't like leaving the holes plain. These particular ones from the Violet Studios collection, I think you could just cut them off either on either side of that like dotted line there and just leave them as a word instead of, or just like a sentiment instead of a tag sentiment. And then there were these heart embellishments that were included, which was perfect for the With Love. So even though this was an Easter pad and everything was Easter that I bought, it said part of the Hoppy Easter collection, it turned out to be a card you could send literally any time of year. Almost looks like a Valentine. If you found this video helpful, here's another video where you can find more ideas for enjoying your crafty time and supplies. Let me know you like this video with a share to your crafty community, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next template or tutorial, and check the video description for product links. See you in the next video.